Hi guys! Today my mom and I will be baking an apple pie together.
Sure will.
So we have a lot of apples here, mostly using Max, and then I have a couple Fijis too for... Okay. I was thinking of the island I want to go to.
That's okay. Another vacation, Kristen. Now we will use Kristen's new handy peeler to peel some apples.
Alright, shout out to Temu for this apple peeler. Well, I guess it could peel any fruit. And we really only need like 7 apples?
It depends when you cut them up.
We made extras because I like to eat them.
She does. Okay, clean up time. That's not how we clean up, Chris.
And thank you Temu for this awesome cutting board with these little trays.
The trays, when they come out, they have a nice lid and it's got a little grater. So that's nice and neat, it's handy.
We'll use that for our nutmeg in a minute.
We're going to leave an empty one in there so we can get rid of the cores. We're going to need about 6 or 7 cups of apples, and they should be thinly sliced.
So now before we add our spices to the apples, we're just going to add lemon juice so that way the apples don't brown, because apparently we did this in reverse and we should have made the crust first, but whatever.
So
what are you doing? Why are you massaging it? That's
you
weird.
always roll the lemons before you, because you get more juice out of them that way.
I've never heard of that.
Yes, of course. Yeah, it's a good idea to do that. My hand to catch the drips.
Well, they catch the seeds, which I think you just threw a seed in there. I saw a seed in your hand.
No, I didn't. There was
There was a seed.
Oh, don't worry about it. Okay.
Okay, well, can you be more
So now,
vigilant?
no seeds.
Okay.
Okay, so
There
now
was a seed.
we're going to stir this up a little bit with my trusty knife. Now it's time to make the mixture in the apples. So, 1/3 of a cup of sugar. We're going to put everything in this bowl, mix it up, and put it in the apples.
All right.
1/3 of a cup.
Thank you, Temu, for these jars. Are you sure that's enough?
You can add a little more because there's quite a bit of apples. Okay, that's good. You like sugar. Okay. A teaspoon of salt. 1 1/4 teaspoons of cinnamon. Now, nutmeg. Grind your nutmeg. Fresh nutmeg is always better than anything that's pre-ground. A little over 1/4 of a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Stir that up. Most apple pie recipes call for flour and you thicken it, which is fine. But I'm a big advocate of the King Arthur Clear Gel. I love this stuff. It works beautifully. It doesn't clump like flour tends to. And it melts within really good. So I'll need a couple tablespoons of this in place of flour. Now before we add this to the apples, I like to just do a splash of vanilla in the apples. King Arthur boiled cider.
This is her secret ingredient for
it's
apple
wonderful.
pies.
It's really wonderful. I go with a 1/4 cup around. I don't measure this. I decide when I've had enough.
So like a 1/4 cup.
About a 1/4 cup.
And
Okay, first we're going to blend this up really good. Boiled cider is amazing. You really have got to try it.
it smells delicious.
Okay, now we're going to sprinkle the sugar mixture, and
Oh.
Kristen's going to...
This is my favorite part because it's when I start to steal the apples.
When she was a little girl and I'd be making apple pies, she would always be hovering around. And I used to say, Kristen, you had enough. We're not going to have enough of the pie. I would end up making more apples and more filling.
That's why
She was stealing them all the time. Okay, that's good.
But I have to taste test.
Here we go. You'll see what I mean. Okay, this is done. Enough. And now, we're going to start on the crust. First things first. We need 297 grams of all-purpose flour.
What? I was doing it.
297 grams of all-purpose flour. And a food processor is really handy right now, if you have one. Teaspoon of salt, and we're going to need 1/4 cup of Crisco shortening and about 9 tablespoons of cold butter.
Okay, here's the Crisco.
So we're going to put the flour, the Crisco, and the salt in Kristen's food processor.
What about the butter?
Yep. So we want about 9 tablespoons of butter.
Which is a little over 1 stick. And cube them up.
This on the food processor.
And I'm going to clean up.
You're going to make a well-made mixture like this. We're going to need between 6 to 10 tablespoons of ice water. Now, I always start off with 6, and if I need to have more, I will. Don't go over 10. 6. We're going to mix this around. It really depends on the weather, how much you're going to need or not need. 1 more tablespoon and check it. Okay, see how it'll clump together? That's what you're looking for. Sometimes it'll be 6, sometimes it'll be 10. You want it to clump together, like this.
So I guess it depends on the humidity.
Mhm.
Today's a relatively humid day, so that makes sense.
Okay, so what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna take the crust out and I'm going to put it in the refrigerator for about a half hour to rest, and then we will proceed to make the pie. Just the fridge for a half hour. Okay, now it's time to begin the pie dough. And another thing, if you don't want to make pie dough, don't. No problems with buying it already done in the supermarket and just follow through. Your house will smell great, and if you make an apple pie, it doesn't matter. Use the store-bought one if that's what you want to do. Just make the pie. Okay.
Our pie dough's been in the fridge for a half an hour, and now we're taking it out.
We're going to lightly flour. Bring this together a little bit. I'm going to push it down. Now I'm going to roll this out. You can see the bits of butter, and that's what you want to see, because as it bakes, it'll expand and make it extra flaky. Okay.
Now, do you spray the
No.
dish with Pam?
No.
No? Okay.
So I am just going to put the dough in. We have a little bit of openings right here. We're just going to take a little bit of the crust.
Yeah, like patching it up.
Yep. Apple pie should be really rustic and it should be fun. What I have learned through my years is I do a mixture half and half sugar, half flour. So I mix up about a tablespoon and a tablespoon. It's going to be half and half of flour and sugar. And there's nothing worse when you make a pie than a soggy bottom. So what I found is if I do a mixture of flour and sugar and I spread a little bit on the bottom pie crust, I don't get a soggy bottom. Every time I make a pie, I do this. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit on the bottom.
Nice. When did you learn this trick?
About 12 years ago. You're not going to taste it, but you're going to notice a difference because this bottom is not going to be soggy. So now it's time to put the apples in. And if you've got a daughter like I've got, always leave some on the bottom because she's going to do that. Okay, she's going to eat it. Okay, so what we're going to do on the top is we're going to put some dabs of butter. What we need to do now is dot the top of the pie with butter. About a tablespoon.
Now, what's the purpose of this?
It makes it extra good. Same thing as before. So we're gonna gather it together, okay? But first you're gonna patch up anything that needs to be patched. It didn't overlap that much. What we're gonna do is we're gonna bring this up instead of bringing it down like this, Chris, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna bring it up and tuck it.
Okay.
Okay, there you go.
There, beautiful apple pie.
First, you're gonna crimp the edges, okay? Coat it in some flour, and then use your finger, okay?
Just for that extra fancy look.
If you don't give pies a venting, then it's going to bubble up and you're going to have a mess in your oven. So typically you do something like this, that you can add some fork prongs in it too. And then Kristen is going to beat up an egg and she's going to paint the crust. And
We'll
give
give it a good browning.
beautiful shine. This is raw sugar. It holds up during baking. It's brown. It's wonderful on top of baked goods. You're just going to sprinkle it on the pie. It looks really good. And it tastes good too. Okay, you're going to make sure you don't have any crust on the bottom of your pie. That will catch in your oven.
And I think we're ready to put this in. Our oven's at 425 degrees. And how long should we?
Around 45 to 55 minutes.
All right, so we'll see you guys in 45 minutes.
Pie is just about ready. You want it to be bubbly on the top and you want it to be browned. And since we baked it in a glass pie plate, we can actually pick it up and look underneath it. And if it's brown and it's bubbly, we're good. Oh, it looks beautiful. And as you can see, it is browned underneath. And we have a beautiful pie.
It smells so good, guys. I wish you could smell my kitchen. All right, so can you get in the frame? Oh. All right, so now we can cut a piece and try it.
No, let it cool for at least an hour. I know it's very appealing, it smells wonderful, but if you cut into it now, it's just gonna be a mushy thing. It's gonna fall all over the place. It's not gonna be good.
Fine, I'll try it in an hour. That'll be my lunch at noon. And thank you, Mom, for showing me how to make an apple pie today.
You're welcome.